Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video session on daily news and editorial analysis dated 5th of December. Through this video session, I'll be discussing the important news and editorial both from the Hindu and Indian Express. The discussion and analysis in this session will help all the aspirants who will be appearing for the Civil Services examination. Other than that, those aspirants who will be appearing for the State Public Service Commission examination and one-day examination, the session is going to be helpful. So stay tuned till end of this session. By the end, we'll be also discussing two important questions that will be relevant for the upcoming prelims examination. Along with that, there will be discussions to the previous day questions that we have already made a discussion that I have already asked with you. So stay tuned till end so that you could practice some important questions as well. So first, let's get highlight part of the news that is there on the discussion, the highlights of the news. Then we'll proceed further with a detailed analysis. So the first important news talks about the recent FAO reports on the food and agriculture system, something very important. This will be relevant in terms of conservation and environmental impact assessment. The second important news talks about the Post-Pit Bill 2023, something again important, and it empowers the post official, which has also raised the concern. The third important news is about the commitment that government is looking forward to augment the part of women forces in the paramilitary. And the other news that talks about India and US to strengthen the part of their differences and even to build a healthy relationship in terms of technology transfer and strengthening their bilateral relationship. We'll conclude the session with editorial that talks about the center of inclusion. This article specifically focuses on the part where the transgender need to be given equal right in terms of education, employment and healthcare. Something very important. It's a brilliant article that will give you the in-depth about the how function need to be improved when it comes to transgender in the country. Now we'll move forward with a detailed analysis of the news one by one. So the first important news is about the FAO report on the agri-food system, something very important, and this is a topic which will be relevant for both prelims and mains examination. दोनों जगह पे आप क्वेश्चन एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं. FAO, this is again Food and Agriculture Organization, which is an UN organization. इन्होंने कुछ अपनी specific report release की and they have said that they have revealed the hidden cost for the global agri-food system exceeding the staggering $10 trillion, which is pretty high. अगर बात करें जितनी कॉस्ट लगती है एग्री फूड सिस्टम में, वेदर दे आर फीजिबल और नॉट, ज़रूरतें हैं या हमें अपने एग्रीकल्चर पैटर्न को चेंज करने की ज़रूरत है. दिस इज व्हाट हैज़ बीन हाईलाइटेड थ्रू दिस रिपोर्ट. सो लेट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर द डिटेल्स एंड वेयर वी नीड टू इम्प्रूव. So the finding of the report, first I'll give you the precise and important point because this is a detailed report जो कि FAO ने release की है. You need to get an elaborative of that, but the main point which is relevant from the examination perspective will be discussed. तो रिपोर्ट में बताया गया है कि जो कल्टिवेशन ऑफ वाटर इंटेंसिव क्रॉप्स है, स्पेसिफिकली इफ यू लुक एट इंडिया, वी आर मोस्टली देयर ऑन द वाटर इंटेंसिव क्रॉप. तो वाटर इंटेंसिव क्रॉप्स के क्या नुकसान है वो बताया गया है and how actually it is costing a lot, right? So the part of cash crop like sugarcane and nica nut are affecting the environment. Not only it is dearer, it is not only costly, but also it is detrimental to environment. This is what has been highlighted in the report. Now it says that in middle income countries, which definitely include India, India is a country which is a middle income country, यहाँ पे जो cost है इसको constitute करने, I mean the total part which is there for agriculture, it constitutes 11% of the GDP. Total 11% of the GDP is contributed in manifesting, and which is pretty high when it comes to poverty, environmental harm, and health-related impact, including the undernourishment and unhealthy dietary pattern. ऐसा नहीं है कि इतनी सारी चीज़ों की प्रैक्टिस करने के बाद भी इंडिया में जो न्यूट्रिशनल वैल्यू है दैट इज ऑन द हायर साइड. वी स्टिल हैव अ लो न्यूट्रिशन कंपेयर टू द मासेस, जिस वजह से गवर्नमेंट ने काफ़ी न्यूट्रिशनल प्रोग्राम, इफ यू लुक एट द न्यूट्रिशनल प्रोग्राम बाय गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, दिस इज एक्चुअली एम टू प्रोवाइड द न्यूट्रिशनल सिक्योरिटी अपार्ट from the food security which is there. Government is also providing with the part of nutritional security, but then also we are not able to meet it. तो क्या हमें अपने पैटर्न को चेंज करने की जरूरत है? The United Nations Food Agriculture Organization has specifically highlighted that there is an unsustainable business which is unusual activities and this practice is excluding the total cost. अगर टोटल कॉस्ट की बात करें, इफ यू लुक एट द टोटल कॉस्ट विच इज देयर फॉर द एग्रीकल्चर प्रैक्टिसेस, दिस इज प्रिटी हाई, और इनपुट और आउटपुट के एस्पेक्ट्स पे जो खर्च है वो ज़्यादा हो रहे हैं. Now, क्या इम्पैक्ट है इंटेंसिव एग्रीकल्चर की? इंटेंसिव एग्रीकल्चर इज अ पार्ट ऑफ फार्म प्रैक्टिसेस जहाँ पे बहुत ही ज़्यादा फर्टिलाइजर्स की यूटिलाइजेशन की जाती है. दिस इज द केमिकल फर्टिलाइजर्स आर विट यूज एंड द लैंड इज बीइंग यूज्ड एक्सपोटेंशियली, राइट. ज़रूरत से ज़्यादा उसकी यूटिलाइजेशन की जाती है. ऑफ सीजन द पार्ट ऑफ द क्रॉप्स इज बीइंग यूज्ड. So intensive agriculture is significant impact on the environment, human health, socio-economic factors. कुछ key consequences की अगर बात करें, सबसे पहले environmental degradation. We disturb the part of environmental degradations. Then there is a water depletion that is witnessed. Greenhouse gas emission. All this point that I'm discussing can be important for the prelims examination. There can be a direct MCQ question जहाँ से आपसे पूछा जा सकता है कि इंटेंसिव एग्रीकल्चर के क्या क्या नेगेटिव कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज हो सकते हैं. लॉस ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी इज अदर कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज. देन वी हैव हेल्थ केयर कंसर्न, soil, social and economical issues that is still present, social and economic issues, and land usage change. See what happens if the practice of crop is not as per the season, the land loses fertility, and which cause a lot more problem in the further season. Now, food and nutritional insecurity, which is still persistent in India. India की अगर बात करें, water intensive cash crop, मैंने आपको बताया sugar cane और अरनिका nuts जो हैं, they are basically favored for investment, right? Basically dams और जो canal irrigations है उसमें sugar cane favor की जाती है, और electricity bower के लिए अरनिका nut जो favor की जाती है. But these two are again not good for the environmental sustainability and even the soil health, right? So this threaten the food security and the productions of nutritional crop in the country. इसके जगह पे इसके behalf पे और जो other crops variety use की जा सकती थी, that is not being used, right? So the expansion of the sugarcane cultivation has affected the biodiversity to a larger extent. It has also created pressures in the groundwater resources and contributed to the air and water pollutions, right? Ironically, अगर बात करें small and marginal farmers की, they have been among the most food and nutritional insecure. Because why? There is no variety. The variety of crop that should be there is less. That ultimately make them vulnerable to the part of food and nutritional security. Now, कुछ recommendations की बात करें, FAO ने अपने रिपोर्ट पे कुछ recommendations बताई हैं. They have said that we need to transform the agri-food system. Now, in this particular topic, you can even get question in General Studies paper 3, specifically in the mains examination. आप पे सवाल पूछे जा सकते हैं कि किस तरह से एग्री फूड सिस्टम में ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की ज़रूरत है. तो आप जो नेगेटिव कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज है वो बताएंगे, एंड आई टेल यू द पॉजिटिव एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ द पार्ट ऑफ क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन इन अ वाइल. तो आप उसे भी एग्जामिनेशन में ज़रूर लिखें. The report suggested that multi-cropping system can have a potential effect to the farmer, जहाँ पे वो उनके well-being वो improve करेगी nutritional outcomes को, and even positively impacting the ecological health. So this is how the things can be diversified. और क्या क्या important चीज़ों को recommend करने की ज़रूरत है, how it will actually help, that I'll discuss. तो significance of crop diversification की बात करें, once you are asked with a part कि किस तरह से agri food system को change करने की ज़रूरत है, you can highlight this point about the significance of crop diversification. First, it called for biodiversity. Crop diversification से जो plant variety है वो enhance होती है, promoting the biodiversity in agriculture. So this is a positive aspects है. Risk mitigations में मदद मिलती है, जहाँ पे pest, disease और adverse weather conditions को minimize करने में भी बहुत हद तक people are, the farmers practicing this actually get the reductions in this. Soil health is again improving. As I've told you, it will help improve the part of soil fertility, reduce the nutrient depletion. Once we have off weather crops, that ultimately led to the deteriorations of soil quality. Soil की जो nutrient profile है, soil's nutrient profile get distorted. Water management में मदद मिलती है because it varied with the part of water requirement, aiding the part of water resource management. Second last is nutritional balance. It has a good range of foods contributing to the balanced nutritional requirement of the communities. जो सोसाइटी को ज़रूरत है, जिस एग्रीकल्चर पैटर्न में, जिस सीजन में जिसकी क्रॉप्स की डाइवर्सिफिकेशन की ज़रूरत पड़ती है, वो एक्चुअल में की जाती है. Sustainable agriculture is promoted. Why? Because we are not disturbing the agriculture pattern. तो farming practices accordingly होती हैं, foster the long-term environmental and economic benefit. So this is how the crop diversification is actually helpful, and these are the recommendations which has been there by the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, which is a UN organization. Now diversification की कुछ और benefits की अगर बात करें, you can even utilize this diagram in the means. It help in the crop productions by 14%. पेस्ट और डिजीज कंट्रोल में 63% की इंक्रीज देखी गई है. वाटर क्वालिटी हैज बीन इम्प्रूव बाय 50% एंड सॉइल क्वालिटी इम्प्रूव बाय 11%. सो इवन यू कैन ड्रॉ दिस डायग्राम. आप इस डायग्राम को फ्लो चार्ट में भी बना सकते हैं, एंड इवन देयर इज अदर वे टू गिव दिस इंफॉर्मेशन इन द मेंस एग्जामिनेशन. Now, Rajya Sabha has actually passed the Post Office Bill 2023. The Rajya Sabha has passed the bill and replaced the 1898, which is close to 128-year-old law, which was governing the part of Indian Post Office. But to this act, कुछ ऐसे concern भी raise किए गए हैं by the opposition, which has actually empowered जो खास करके officials हैं उनको check and seizures की power दी गई है, which has raised concern with the opposition. We'll discuss that as well. सो प्रोविजंस की बात करें, इस प्रोविजंस में अलाउ किया गया है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को टू ऑथराइज द ऑफिशियल्स टू इंटरसेप्ट, दिस इज अ वन पॉइंट, ओपन एंड डिटेन द आइटम विद द व्हिच एक्चुअली कॉन्फ्लिक्ट विद द स्टेट सिक्योरिटी, foreign relations, public order, emergency safety, and in case of legal violations. So this is a point which actually opposition is stating that, I mean, this is a part which can hamper the part, and even it can lead to the deteriorating in the part of the overall power that has been given. इसकी जो uses है वो negative terms में भी use की जा सकती है, and this can be misused. This is what the term that has been used by the opposition party. This has given a prerogative to the central government officials to decide upon. ये उनके पास ही पावर होगा कि वो सर्च और सीजर कर सकते हैं नेशनल सिक्योरिटी को ध्यान में रखते हुए, and anything in the national security can have a wide ambit, right? So the bill aims to regulate the official efficiency, establish the modern legal framework और ट्रांसफॉर्म करती है जो पोस्टल नेटवर्क है इंडिया में, that also include the part of citizen services delivery system in the country. पोस्ट ऑफिस की अगर बात करें, दिस वाज समथिंग, द पोस्टल सर्विसेज has been there for quite long time. From the colonial era it has been established, और ये अभी भी एक्टिवली खास करके रूरल एरिया में अगर बात करें is a preferred sort of communications, right? So the bill seeks to empower the Director General of Postal Services to regulate the framework जहाँ पे necessity actions ली जा सकती है, and they can fix the charges for the services as per the requirement, as per the costing. Now, if you look at the journey, I mean, the part of India's post service which has actually been started. So from an inception, post office in India की अगर बात करें 1,54,882 पोस्ट ऑफिस है, कुछ ब्रांचेस हैं, टोटल स्टाफ की स्ट्रेंथ 3 लाख के आसपास है, टोटल सेविंग विद इंडियन पोस्ट ऑफिस इज 7 लाख करोड़ रुपीज, नंबर ऑफ पोस्ट एटीएम, बिकॉज पोस्ट ऑफिस ने पेमेंट बैंक भी स्टार्ट किया, दे हैव एक्चुअली स्टार्टेड विद द पेमेंट बैंक. तो ये पेमेंट बैंक्स जो हैं उनकी एटीएम्स है 1000, नंबर ऑफ इंडियन पोस्ट माइक्रो एटीएम्स क्लोज टू 40,000. These are the utter details that is mentioned over here. जापान के साथ भी अराउंड 2 ट्रिलियन के आसपास एसेट्स हैं, एंड द पार्ट ऑफ थिंग्स दैट इज वर्किंग, कंपटीटर्स जो हैं बैंकिंग सिस्टम के, फिनटेक, फिनो, पेटेक, एयरटेल की पेमेंट सिस्टम्स है, आइडिया पेमेंट बैंक एंड पेटीएम पेमेंट बैंक that is still existing, right? So this is how the part of journey has been there for the Indian Post Office. Now, moving ahead, center has actually said, the government said that they'll be looking forward to increase the total strength of the women in armed forces. Specifically, अगर armed forces की बात करें, गवर्नमेंट ने कहा है कि वो नंबर ऑफ विमेन, स्पेसिफिकली विमेन्स के नंबर को इंक्रीज करेंगे इन आर्म्ड फोर्सेस, राइट? सो द प्राइम मिनिस्टर वाज एक्चुअली मेकिंग अ एड्रेस to Navy, and he said that government is committed to strengthen the part of women participations in the armed forces. Now, women strength की अगर बात करें armed forces में, कुछ पिछले दशकों में, I mean close to 5 years, if you look at the down 10 years also, we have seen that the number is actually increasing. The trend is following the upward trend, right? And not more than just a medical field, they are also witnessing as other fighter pilot commanding the posting in the army, जहाँ पे recently Supreme Court ने commissionization of officers की भी बातें कही हैं. But unlike other developed countries like United States, UK, Germany, Canada, India is taking longer time to let women in venues such as usual nursing और medical role. इसके अलावा भी हमें जो वाइड एम्बिट है फोर्सेस में, खास करके मिलिट्री फोर्सेस में, उसे बढ़ाने की ज़रूरत है। बीट इट इज़ इंडियन आर्मी, इट इज़ इंडियन नेवी और इंडियन एयर फोर्स, ये तीनों फोर्सेस में हमें वुमेन की पार्टिसिपेशंस को और बढ़ाने की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी। Now, if you look at the data, which is there, the government sources has been coming up with the data. So it says that for Army, we have close to total officers of 1156, Navy में 489 और Air Force में 1610 officials हैं. So Air Force has the maximum number of women participation which we have witnessed. Now historical background की अगर बात करें, women की first inductions हुई थी 1888 में. This was a time where actually Indian military nursing services was created by the Indian armed forces, right? और इसमें खास करके during the war, World War, it was the necessity that the staff were required, nursing staff की ज़रूरत पड़ी थी, and this because of their good performance and the performance which has been there. तो जो टॉप आर्मी ऑफिसर्स थे उन्होंने विमेन ऑक्सिलरी क्रॉप की forces की formations की, that was actually there, right? So this corps has actually facilitated women to serve in the non-combat role, accounting for communications and administration. But it is always argued कि जिस तरह से developed countries like US, even for China, for UK, the women are actually making a substantial contribution. तो इंडिया को भी एक differentiated role देने की ज़रूरत है women's को in the defense forces. Now, India and UK to work through the differences. This is something very important. US के जो principal deputy NSA हैं, that is the National Security Advisor, he has said that India and UK are looking forward to a mature relationship, and this will enable foreign identity opportunities through the differences. कई ऐसे security के issues है या फिर military collaborations की बात करें, India and United States will be looking forward to augment their overall relationship. Strategic partnership की बात करें, one thing that I wanted to highlight here is about the ICET. I think I have made a discussion to this in detail. ICET stand for Initiative on Critical Emerging Technology. तो इसको लेके कमिटमेंट की गई है कि दोनों कंट्रीज पार्टनरशिप को और ज़्यादा इन्हांस करेंगे so that they have a detailed collaboration in terms of critical and emerging technology. Now this is a mid-term review of ICET जहाँ पे ICT में कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट जो कंपोनेंट्स हैं लाइक वैल्यू चेन, सेमीकंडक्टर, क्वांटिंग आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, हाई परफॉर्मेंस कंप्यूटिंग्स, even the defense innovation, space, advanced telecommunication, these all gamut of area where actually the discussions. और इसमें ICT को फर्दर एक्सपैंड करने की बात की गई है दैट बायोटेक्नोलॉजी में हम इसे कैसे इनकॉर्पोरेट कर सकें, द क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स विच इज अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द रेयर अर्थ प्रोसेसिंग, digital connectivity, digital public infrastructure, which is also known as DPI. I have made a detailed discussion to DPI in our Yojana analysis session, so do check it out. और advanced materials में भी इसकी कैसे use की जा सके, that was the main discussion agenda between India and United States. Now moving ahead with the editorial for the day that talks about the center of inclusion, a brilliant editorial that will give you an insight about the part of transgender. किस तरह से ट्रांसजेंडर्स में government need to come up and focus with the part of employment, healthcare and other opportunities that should be given to this community. So I'll be discussing the background first, then we'll move forward with the legal recognitions to the community. Transgenders rule जो government ने बनाई है उसे देखेंगे and we'll conclude with the way forward. So All India Institute of Medical Sciences, अगर AIIMS की बात करें, AIIMS Delhi has said that they will be coming up with a new plan to create a center for excellence for the transgender health in 2024. So next year they will be coming up with the detailed center जहाँ पे specifically transgenders के लिए एक center बनाई जाएगी, a dedicated center to help them out. Now historically अगर transgender की बात करें, they have been facing discrimination, right? Whether they have been pathologically or the labeled mentally ill, and there's some problem with society that they're not accepting this community as a normal human being. So they have actually endured unscientific practice in the conversion therapy. People look forward that if any conversion is possible or in any way, society is not accepting this community. But government ने Supreme Court ने इसे recognize किया है और इन्हें employment opportunities की भी right बताई है. I'll tell you that what was the actual observation made by the Honorable Supreme Court in that. And the lack of access to the healthcare because of the structural barrier, exclusion of infrastructure, lack of services and insensitive healthcare workers have also led to the deterioration in services. अभी भी इंडिया में हेल्थ केयर को लेकर के स्पेसिफिक किसी भी जगह पे कोई ऐसी डिटेल्ड या स्पेसिफिक सेंटर्स नहीं बनाई गई है जो कि सिर्फ ट्रांसजेंडर से रिलेटेड। Now, there's a legal recognition that was given by the Honorable Supreme Court. So there was a case that was filed between NALSA and the Union of India. और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने endorse किया था fundamental right for the transgenders, right? And the judgment has directed both the central government as well as the state government कि एक मेडिकल और खास करके जो मेंटल ज़रूरतें हैं, मेंटल सेक्सुअल एंड रिप्रोडक्टिव हेल्थ के लिए ट्रांसजेंडर के लिए स्पेसिफिक हॉस्पिटल्स में एक सेंटर बनाने की ज़रूरत है। दिस इज समथिंग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इफ यू राइटिंग इवन इन केस स्टडी जनरल स्टडीज पेपर को आप इस तरह की बातों को एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे जरूर लिखें। Now, Parliament has actually come up with a transgender protection right, जो कि emphasize करती है comprehensive healthcare को, including the sex rearrangement surgery, hormone therapy, HIV surveillance, mental health services, and transgender community. For specifically for the transgender, if they require, these center must be open within the state government hospitals. Now, they have also asked for the review of medical curriculum, जहाँ पे research टू केटर द ट्रांसजेंडर पर्सन, इस पे करिकुलम भी होनी चाहिए। मेडिकल स्टडीज़ में जो MBBS डिग्रीज होती हैं उनमें एक्चुअली एक कोर्स या करिकुलम भी बनाने की ज़रूरत है जहाँ पे सेंसिटाइजेशन किया जाए जेंडर की तरफ। Now, we have a rule that has come up by the parliament. Government has actually come up with the transgender person rule, and this rule has mandated the state government to establish a separate ward and washroom for the transgender individual by the hospital. If you look at the, public places, they have a male and female के लिए अलग-अलग component होते हैं. There should be something for the trans people as well, for the transgender, right? And they also require the sensitization for the healthcare implementations की ज़रूरत है policies की, और उसके लिए compliance officers भी होने चाहिए हर एक establishment. This is what the rule actually specify. Additionally, it suggests that there should be at least one government hospital in each state that should offer the safe, free gender affirming surgery related to the services. This is what the rule actually called for, and even the implementation in the states are being done. But abhi bhi jo pace hai, that is on the slower side. We need to further augment this so that the community at large should be benefited from these rules and regulations. Now, these are the data whatever we have discussed. You can even take this screenshot for your revision purposes. यहाँ पे सारी specific points highlight की गई हैं. You can even read it out and you can make a revision. If this question is asked about the welfare of transgender person, आप इस तरह के important points वहाँ पे लिख पाएंगे. Now, the way forward, जो ये एक्ट है, दो एक्ट्स है बेसिकली, ट्रांसजेंडर रूल 2020 और जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जो एक्ट थी, दे हैव एक्चुअली कम अप विद द पार्ट जहाँ पे मेल और फीमेल को रिकॉग्नाइज करने की जरूरत है, एंड देयर इज अ misplaced focus on the tertiary care for the surgical procedures which is being required, which become a mandate for the transgender, right? So all medical hospitals should have a gender affirmative services, and these should be done with the quality, inclusive and accessible primary and secondary healthcare services. Medical curriculum, as I've told you, for the MBBS courses, this must also be included to provide a gender diverse people. So this is how we can approach, और ये लॉन्ग टर्म अप्रोच की जरूरत है. दिस विल बी अ लॉन्गर टर्म अप्रोच विच विल बी रिक्वायर्ड फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट एंड टू इंश्योर दैट इन कमिंग ईयर्स, डाउन द लाइन 5 साल के बाद भी इस तरह की चीज़ें जो हैं वो एज अ नॉर्मल हो जाएंगी और हर एक इंडिविजुअल जो ट्रांसजेंडर कम्युनिटी से बिलोंग करता है उनको सर्विसेज मिल पाएंगी. मूविंग अहेड विद द आंसर्स डिस्कशन फॉर द यस्टरडे क्वेश्चंस. For first, the correct option is B. मैंने आपसे ADB के बारे में पूछा था. इसके first options correct हैं, that it has 68 member, 49 from Asia Pacific and 19 from other. The second statement is incorrect, and third statement is also correct, that जो voting mechanism है in the World Bank gives the proportions to their capital subscriptions. Now the second question, यहाँ पे जो दोनों statement है वो correct है, that this initiative was a part of Indian Railway one station one product, और जो टेंडर्स रिजल्टिंग इन द सेल्स ऑफ आउटलेट स्टेशन विद इन द कंट्री, जोनल रेलवे डिटरमाइन द क्वालिफिकेशन आइटम मर्चेंट. सो बोथ स्टेटमेंट 1 and statement 2 are correct. Today's MCQ for practice, 2 MCQs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. Among them, the first is about the radio galaxies. The release of more radio frequency is visible in this. The thermal emissions drive them. There are outcome of interactions between the change particle, supermassive holes and strong magnetic field. So you can participate in this question answer. आपको करना कुछ नहीं है. You have to simply write question number 1 in the comment section उसके बाद आप अपने कमेंट में जो करेक्ट ऑप्शन है वो हमें ज़रूर लिख करके बताएं. सो मेक योर पार्टिसिपेशन इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस. The second question of the day is about the Sundarban Tiger Reserves located in the southern part of the Gangetic Delta. The comprises of estuaries, channels, creeks, and surrounded by the number of islands. So you have to choose for the correct option. How you can participate? Simply write question number 2 followed by your correct options. Then you can simply drop your answers in the comment section down below. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern about test series, programs, admissions, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying connected.